Alan joins me now to have his say. What you saying now?
Yeah, 3 points. Performance still not there. So I've got to be critical of that because, like I was saying under Nuno, obviously it's better than Nuno, but it's not, you know, like in the fact that it was poor performances. But we're getting the points where So for me, that's a plus. But there's loads of performances. Like touched on Son, he's just not at it. He needs to be dropped because if players aren't players aren't performing and still playing, and you got the people on the bench going, "Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get on the team." You then stop them wanting to improve or trying to get into the team. So for me, stuff like that has to change. The defense looks poor without Romero in there. So slow, get caught out of position. Dyer, Sanchez, all loads of them. For me, I don't understand why Højbjerg's still in the team. So slow, his passing's horrendous. Basuma should be in there. So I don't know why we're not making these changes and bringing the new players in to freshen it up. But I suppose 10 points out of 12 in hindsight looks good. But if we go into, we've got in a couple of weeks, you've got Man City and Arsenal coming up. If we play anything like that against them teams, we're getting torn apart. It's as simple as that. You can't. I know people then say, but look at Man City last season when you defended and counter attacked, but that was a one off. That's not going to happen 2 times, 3 times in a row against Man City. So things have to change. We've got the points on the board, but for me, it's not the best performance. Hasn't been, even against Wolves wasn't a great performance, and Chelsea was horrendous.
I kind of listen. I haven't written Spurs off this year. I predicted them to come fifth, and that's not because I said you were going to be bad. It's because I think Arsenal are going to be really good, and I think Chelsea are going to be really good. I said it'd be very close between you all. Now, if I get it wrong, I'm going to be wrong by a few points, so I don't really care. But something I did say last year, and someone's just tweeted, Jess has just tweeted about this, and I kind of remember that I said it, and I kind of forgot this train of thought. There's a lot of pressure in the Premier League for every club to play expansive attacking football. That is what could play into Tottenham's hands this year. That's why I'm asking the question, could Spurs title race? Barring one or two of the smaller clubs in the league, everybody tries to play open and expansive football, meaning you've always got the opportunity to counterattack against them. I think maybe like there is an argument, and this is me making an argument rather than making a statement to say, maybe, just maybe, with your quality of player and Antonio Conte, you're almost like the kryptonite to this kind of new style of football that's overtaken the Premier League, where everybody wants to be possession based, the main attackers pressing the ball high, a million miles an hour, where you guys are more like a sponge. It's almost this absorb, and when you're ready, bang, you counterattack, if that makes sense. And it's going to be an intriguing year. And I don't necessarily think that the way you play, like, you were opened up a little bit too much today. I think a few players, there were times today where Davis, especially, I thought today there were times where Dyer, you saw Dyer for what Dyer really is today, where he got spun a little bit and things like that. But I think you need to be a bit more resolute in your one-on-one options and things like that. But I still think you've got, once Basuma's integrated, once Romero, how long is Romero out for?
Well, they said about 3 to 4 weeks originally, and then they said it was about a week. So hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's back for the next game against West Ham. But I don't know. Our treatment table, I mean, last season, take Skip, for example. He was only meant to be out a couple of weeks. He ended up being out for the rest of the season. And Conte was annoyed at our medical staff because he couldn't get a clear idea of what was going on. So I don't trust what they say. Romero probably out injured for the rest of the season, though, and our medical team is absolutely horrendous. But for me, there's loads you can say about absorbing like a sponge, but let's go back to Mourinho. He wanted to play that way. I know Conte's better than Mourinho currently now as manager, but you see the type of players we've got in can't do that for 90 minutes against bigger teams and on a consistent basis. You have to play. But we showed when we played football last season, we went away to Leeds like towards the end of the season. Obviously Norwich on the final day, and we can smash these teams apart. We can do it. We've got the attacking line for it. But I think what he's doing is just setting us to defend a bit deep. We're sitting too far deep. If we're up 5 or 10 yards further forward, then we have a problem. But for me, there's certain trash in this team that still needs to go. I don't know why he's not put. I mean, for me, still Royal was shocking today as well. I want to see someone different in there. I want to put Jed Spence in, just see how he does. Just something different to make to lift the tempo of the team, because at times it's bad. Don't get me wrong. 10 points out of 12, I can't complain, but it just seems like it's going the same way as what a Nuno did or Conte did, and that's in the results. basically they dry up and then we end up losing and then we're fighting for 6th or 7th. Whereas, it just seems it's going that route again. Maybe the team will get better and maybe new players will come in. But for me, it's awful football at the moment. And I know you don't always win because Poch played really good football, but I just don't want it going back to what we've seen in recent seasons where we start well, get a few good results, and then all of a sudden we fall apart and we're battling for 5th, 6th, and 7th again.
I do understand that, Trent. I do get that. Look, let's see what happens though, because this is the last round of games before midweek football starts. That you've now got 2 Premier League games in a week, then Europe starts for us all, and in amongst that you've got the League Cup. There's a little break as well. I didn't realize there was an international break before the World Cup, which is annoying.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, unless I'm missing something, when I'm looking at the Premier League fixtures, there's a gap. There's a gap in the last weekend of September. There's no fixtures, and maybe something's happening then, and I don't know what it is, but I can't see the games. But maybe I've counted it wrong. But yeah, I mean, look, 2 games a week start now. So what that means for your bench players and squad players is now you're going to get your chance to show you're good enough for the first team. And I think that's key. But like I've said all along, look, people always confuse me saying I think Spurs could be really good this year, and then me predicting them coming 5th. I just think that's because Chelsea and Arsenal are going to be equally as amazing. And it was just my thought they might pip you to it. But it's going to be close. I think Spurs are what I like about Spurs, though, is that you're doing it very different to everybody else. In fairness, Thomas Tuchel also gets accused of being a little bit negative, a little bit pragmatic. What is it they call him? But like a Tuchelaban or something, a ball, or whatever it is. Terrace football and all this kind of nonsense. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. A super chat here says, do you and the Muppets remember what I said about Liverpool dead midfield? Arsenal still won't finish in the top 4 is what Michael Ramsey's got to say. David here says, Xbox tell my 2-year-old put something in mine 2 days ago, milk cap. Yeah, listen, if we hit it, listen, what we're going to do at the end of the month, if you're a member of the Football Terrace, we're going to give away a console to you. If you want to become a member, you can sign up now, link in the description. Or if we get past 600 likes, we're going to give another 10 memberships away free. So make sure you're smashing the like button for us. Thank you very much indeed. In terms of the start of the season, I want to ask you, Al, who's impressed you the most Premier League-wise so far?
I would be lying if I didn't say Arsenal. Let's be honest. But if you look at the caliber of teams they've beat, apart from Palace on the opening day, which you can catch a team cold like we did Man City last year, people would say it's smaller teams, and they started well against smaller teams last season after the first 3 defeats. But I agree, it's something different about them. But for me, also, I do like Brighton. I think Brighton are playing really well. I think everyone's overlooking Brighton. Not saying they're going to challenge or anything, but Brighton losing Cucurella and Basuma, everyone thought Brighton were going to be there for the taking, and they've literally, proven everyone wrong. So for me, they've been the standout team as well. But yeah, if I was to put anyone in that category, obviously Man City goes without saying, but Arsenal have played the better football for me. But will they continue? I mean, they've got you guys coming up soon. You guys turn the corner. It's at Old Trafford. They generally tend not to do well there.
Well, I mean, it's going to be an acid test for everybody. I would say this. I mean, I consider the Premier League season to have started after Maguire was dropped. So United have been very impressive since then. But I'm only joking. Now, I think, look, Brighton pound for pound, Leeds United pound for pound are up there. Arsenal have been brilliant. Do you always feel with Tottenham? I think there was so much expectation on Tottenham to be good. It's kind of gone unnoticed that you're level on points after 4 games with City. You haven't. Even though today you were being bombarded at times, you didn't look like you were going to lose. And that, for me, as a neutral watching, that's what's the most intriguing thing about Spurs. You did not look like you were going to concede. And I watched a lot of games, so even so far this season with Gooners. I've watched some games with Chelsea fans. I've watched some games with Spurs fans, and they've been nervous the whole game. And I get why you're nervous when your team's playing, but as someone that, in actuality in these games, I've had no real dog in the fight. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you're going to win. I just, there was no feeling. I just didn't feel like they were going to have enough quality in Forest to be able to put you to the sword. But we'll see what happens in the next few games, mate. It's been a good start to the season for you. Out.
I saw a couple of comments, people saying, we started well, what you complained about. Okay, we start well coming back, but supposing we do come up where we play like this and we end up losing 2 out of the next 3, or like we lose to Man City and Arsenal, and we get a point against West Ham, and then it's 1 point out of 6 or 1 point out of 9. then people will be complaining, like I'm saying now, about the style of football, or it's not good enough. So yeah, on paper it's looking good, 10 out of 12 points, but we've got tougher games coming up. And if we play like that and we get picked apart, then the same fans who are criticising me now for having these faults will probably be doing the same thing as me. So I might just be ahead of the curve, but it's one of them. If our performances improve, then we can easily get results against these teams coming up. But at the moment, the way it stands now, I think we get picked apart with how Man City and how Arsenal are playing if we don't improve.
Yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one to see what direction it goes in, people. Listen, everyone, smash the like and share button. Alan, always a pleasure to speak, my friend. Take care.